Hello, welcome to Snooker Pro Tips. I've had quite a few emails now asking me about the pause. So this is the clip. It's not one I really want to put on because the pause is very difficult to put into your game. Again, there is a contributor on YouTube who says to pause at the front, pause at the back, follow through. No, please. Be very careful when trying to implement the pause into your game because it's very difficult. I speak from experience of this. I tried it for 12 months, found it really difficult to put into my game at the time and couldn't do it. And it is difficult. And I'd been playing 20 years at the time, tried to implement this into my game and I just couldn't do it because the way I play is so embedded. It was difficult to change, and it's important you know this before you actually try and undertake this. But I have said I'll put one on regarding the pause, so I'm going to do it. And what I'm going to do is explain to you how it's done properly. Not some bloke down the club who tells you pause at the front, pause at the back, then hit it. How long do you pause for? That's the question you must ask. So is it a quick pause, or you just pull it back and hit it? Because he's not explaining it right, and he doesn't know how to explain it. It's something that sounds good but doesn't know how to teach it. So what I'm going to do now is to show you how to do it properly. But the most important thing you must know is that before you do it, what you're letting yourself in for, and it's very difficult to put into your game. So now, the pause. Most people by design who just pick a cue up and play normally pause at the front anyway. That's what they do. They'll pause, pull the cue back and pull the trigger and shoot. So now, what we try and get outside is the pause at the front. Why do we get rid of the pause out the front? Quite simple, because now that'll cause a jerking action in the cue action. If it is, you watch any of the other contributors' clips, watch his cue action, it jerks all over the place. If you can find a cue action that's as smooth as silk and you want to watch it with a pause, watch somebody like Stephen Hendry, Sean Murphy especially. These guys do it properly, but they've also had the proper way of being taught how to do the pause. So now, and again, I'm not sort of boasting, but if it is, you see my cue action, it's nice and smooth. But I just could not put the pause into my game. So now, what I said earlier on is how long do you pause for? Well, that's up to the individual. But what I'm going to say to you is just keep it simple. So we get the cue going. So the cue's going in and out, and then on the final backswing as it comes back, hold, and then count to 2. 1, 2, and through. And you can see there now I have paused at the back. So if I do it without counting, and I'm just going to count into my head. So there's the pot. Cue's going nicely, and as I bring it back, you can see the shot go through. You can't see the ball going into the pocket, but I hope you can hear the ball going into the pocket. Now for some players it might be 1. 3 is far too many. 2, 1, maybe 2, and that gives your eyes time then to look at the object ball, because that's the idea of the pause. This is something, again, you haven't been told, you've just been told to hold your cue at the front, hold it at the back and then hit through it. That's not the idea. The idea is to, when you pull it back nice and slow on the final backswing, to hold. While you're holding, your eyes now look at the object ball, and once you've stopped, then you let go of it. So here's a pause with 1. I'm going to count so as you can see the difference. So we get the cue going nicely, pull it back, 1, boom. You see a nice pause and then a nice shot through. So here's the one with 2. But each time what we're getting is the same amount of time, consistency in the pause. So you consistently pause the same all the time. What you don't want to be doing is queuing up, take it back and bump, and then the next one, take it back, hold it, then let it go, because then you've got no consistency in your cue action. It suddenly breaks down and the cue action becomes a jerk rather than a nice and smooth. So this is the pause now with 2. So we get the cue going nicely. Bring the cue back, 1, 2, and through. Now that may seem easy, doing it just like that, but that now is very difficult, because you're actually thinking of something else, i.e. the pause itself. That now takes your mind slightly off the pot. This is what makes it difficult. But I hope now that you understand why I've sort of said all along, be very careful about listening to somebody telling you to pause at the front, pause at the back. Please, if you're going to do it, then by all means. It's your game at the end of the day. I'm just telling you how to do it. If it is you haven't got one in your game to start with, then it's going to be very difficult to put one in. This I can't stress enough to you, so be very careful. And once again, just so as you can sort of put it on yourself and you see whether it is consistent, cue's going nicely, pull it back, 1, 2, and through. There are actually very few players now to a certain level who actually pause. Steve Davis was the start of it in the 80s. Stephen Hendry sort of carried it on into the 90s, didn't have one to start with and then gradually put one into his game. Sean Murphy definitely has one in there. He has a nice hold and then a nice accelerate through. But like I say, if it is you're just playing for fun mainly, don't try and put one in, it's very difficult. That basically is the pause. And what I will say out there, if the other contributor on YouTube wishes to put one on pause, or to try and explain the pause, put one on by all means. But you won't find it anywhere better than that. That is the pause explained, that is everything. Because what you're also looking for is the nice smooth cue through. And if you notice here, again, I'll just finish off, do it again so you can see it, that it's done again. And remember, if you play the match somewhere, you can't count out loud, so you've got to count in your head, so something else is taking your mind away from what you're actually doing. That's what makes it difficult, and that's why I couldn't put it into my own game, because I was thinking too much about how long I'm holding the cue back for. So in my mind, I'm counting 1, 2, and then going through, and not being successful at some pots. When it does work, it works very well. The pause is absolutely tremendous. Can't praise it enough, but it's very difficult to put in. So to finish off, thank you for listening, thank you for watching. It's been Snooker Pro Tips. 1, 2, and 3. Nice and smooth. Thank you.